Hello everyone, I'm Brahmitra. This is part 2. I'm calling it now because I just checked the time, and as I was just saying, as I just finished recording and I just opened up all the updates from the Kickstarter that relate to Campaigns of Death. There's a bit of them, so it took me a minute to open them all up. What we've got here is quite a bit of stuff to talk about. It's going to take a lot of time again. I'm going to share my opinion on Campaigns of Death. So that also probably means I'm going to have to cut the expansions for Wave 4 into a third part of this. So that's the idea now. I set out to make originally one video that would talk about all this stuff. And apparently I have a lot of thoughts on it, and I can't condense my thoughts very well. I thought I did, but I guess I didn't. So I'm going to work on that. I'm going to try doing it a little bit faster this time. But hopefully it's enjoyable. Hopefully it's watchable. Hopefully it's cool. I don't know. I remember I used to listen to these people talk about updates and stuff and go over them, or listen to people give their thoughts on things as I painted minis. So get out paintbrushes and let's paint some Kingdom Death minis. So, as I said, here we go. We're going to talk about Campaigns of Death. As I looked through Campaigns of Death here, I had some other thoughts about the Gambler's Chest. So that was part 1. It was all about the Gambler's Chest and 1.6. Now that I've gone through, opened up all the Kickstarter updates and everything for Campaigns of Death, I have some thoughts about Gambler's Chest that I'm going to share now that are incorporated with Campaigns of Death. So let's go through the history of what Campaigns of Death was. This is the only, as I talk about the Wave 4 expansions, I'll talk about them all, be unbiased about them all, and then I'll tell you whether or not I'm actually going to get them and what it was that made me want to get them right away. This one, however, I'm just going to say that I backed this right away as soon as the campaign launched. So I was able to get it for $40. So if you feel that that influences my opinion, I can tell you right now it won't. I backed it right away based on its original pitch. I didn't know that it was going to go into what it was. In all honesty, I just want the original pitch. I don't give a crap about what it became. It's nice that I get what it became for the extra money for free. I only had to pay the $40, and then he's going to honor that price, even though it includes all this extra stuff now, which is nice of him, very nice of him, but I just want the original pitch. I would have taken this 2 years ago. Just give me what it was that I paid $40 for. So that's my feelings on the Campaigns of Death. So if you feel that, yes, now I know it's like $175 or whatever, which is still worth it. I'm just going to say that right now. It's still worth it. If you have a chance to back Campaigns of Death, or if you're on the fence about Campaigns of Death, if you... Okay, yeah, I'll get into it. But if you feel that I'm going to be biased because I got it for $40 and I'm now getting all this additional stuff for free, I would gladly take the $40 pitch. I'm just telling you, I thought this was worth it and was a great value. Even the original pitch I thought was well worth it, and I backed it for the original pitch, and as now has exploded. But yeah, there's no way I could say that. There's no way I could review the whole thing and say, oh, it's great, I got it for $40, it's awesome. That would be, I'd feel bad about that. Like, I could understand people's opinion about this one, about knowing some people got it for $40. But I just wanted to share that the original pitch was worth $40, and I would still take just that and give up all the free stuff. So, let's check out the Campaigns of Death, the history of Campaigns of Death. I'm going to go through all the updates, too. Every single bit of information we have on it, we see how it evolves. I plan on doing the same exact thing in what will be the third video, which will, that's going to be a long video because I had to go through every single update. Updates on the expansion started at update 55, and there are now 83 updates I reread them all. Again, I'm gonna make another video about this situation that I'm currently having, which has unfortunately prevented me from making more Let's Plays. I will continue doing that, but, luckily it gave me time to go through and sit with my laptop and reread all the updates. So, you guys won't have to do that. Here we go. You're going to get all the updates and all my opinions on them after I reread them all. So that will be the next video. I'll talk about every single update, what it's gone through, but for this, we're going to go through every update in order, talk about the changes. So here we go. This is Campaigns of Death. This is the original pitch here. This is Campaigns of Death, which is a new expansion. It would be $40 to your pledge. This was update 30. This was done during the campaign, when he was rolling and all those things to add stuff to the gambler's chest. So this is the original pitch. I have the other window here. Here it is, the original pitch. You can go to the Kickstarter. I'll tell you all the updates that I'm reading from. I made an Excel spreadsheet of what is in every single update. So if you want to go and see the updates for yourself, this is just off the original campaign. Right here, you can just click that, it brings you right to this. So, here's the original pitch. This was the $40 thing that I thought was always worth it. It has now since gone way up. But here it is. The original pitch for Campaigns of Death, which was originally just going to be a hardcover book. That was it. Well, no, it included other things, but it was basically just a book. A hardcover book that refines rules and guidelines for creating custom campaigns for the core game and the 12 expansions. So, this includes, just so you know, I'll tell you my thought process and the reality. He doesn't live in a reality sometimes with some of these things, even when he pitches them. The system that was pitched would never have accounted for all 12 expansions because his the green armor is like impossible to do with the node system if you're only adding one of each thing. So, like, I don't know why he would even say that, so, yeah. But that was always a thing. Even from the original pitch, I knew that was never going to happen. So this includes 3 30 Lantern Year campaigns, each with their own timeline, and a sprinkle of unique innovations, story events, settlement events, and new gear. So, 3 new campaigns. It also includes 2 3 to 5 year Lantern Year campaigns. 3 to 5 year Lantern Year campaigns, that's awesome. Always wanted that. That's awesome. There should be more short campaigns. There really should be. Even going on when I backed this originally, reading the pitch during the Kickstarter, I thought this was awesome. That was before I even knew the Void of Blanket Death that was the Gold Smoke Knight, which was just going to extend it, which was literally just extending the game 5 years. Like, that would have just been the pitch, you could have just said. This extends the game 5 years, and then you fight something. And that's 100% accurate. You would, if he were to pitch the Goldspoke Knight as like a nemesis, or the, whatever he's calling it, the finale node, it's like a 2-sentence pitch, and that's exactly what you get, and that's, so, that was before I knew that was going to be this blanket void of garbage that is those monsters, and do appear, as I was just saying, in the campaign, or for the Gambler's Chest, it appears the God Hand is going to be the same thing, so, and that doesn't go away now that I know, even in the future of Campaigns of Death, that's not going to go away. That problem's just going to continue to be a thing. So, these campaigns will serve as our new nodes system and help teach you how to build your own campaigns, where it's appropriate to shift timeline events to prevent overcrowding, how to keep the difficulty balanced at the Kingdom Death level, and when it's okay to add a boon-type story event, like Hands of Heat. I don't know why he says Hands of Heat's a boon. Hands of Heat, if you've been watching my playthrough, Hands of Heat has caused me great grief. Hands of Heat is not a boon, really. I mean, it gives you the first time you ever get it, but if it starts repeating and starts appearing all over the place and you keep having bad rolls, this is the worst event ever. So I don't know why it's a boon. This includes details about the nodes and power levels of all current monsters. At this point in time, I had no idea what the nodes were, so I was intrigued, and I still wanted just that. Would have been awesome. And this was coming from someone, at the time I backed this, I didn't own all 12 campaigns, or all 12 expansions either. As I said in my first video, at the time I backed 1.5, and then I knew I wanted the Dung Beetle Knight, the big ones, the big three everyone always says. So I got Gorm, Dung Beetle Knight, Flower Knight, Manhunter, what else did I get? I only backed 5 of them when I originally got the game, because I was like, I don't think I'll ever find time to use them all before all this other stuff comes out. Boy, was I wrong. I figured it would take 3 or 4 years, because that's how long the original campaign took. I went back, I read the original Kickstarter, all that stuff I looked at. I was like, oh, it took him 3 years to fulfill the original, so it'll probably take 3 years to do this. I'll probably play the Dragon King. I got the Dragon King. I didn't get the Sunstalker originally. I had to buy that on Black Friday, but I got the Dragon King because everybody said it was such a great campaign. So that's why I got it originally for the Kickstarter. So those were the 5 that I got. So I assumed I would just go, you know what, I'll do, when all this comes in, I'll do a 1.5 campaign, because I had already played the original game with someone else, one of my friends. So I'll do the Dragon King, or I'll do the 1.5, I'll do the Dragon King, and then I'll go back doing other people a Lantern, and I'll add in Gorm and all that stuff. And that's how originally I had done it. And then, Black Friday came and I bought Sunstalker, then I did all those things. But so even to someone who only had 5 of the expansions, this Campaigns of Death $40 pitch still seemed good, in my opinion. It includes details about nodes and power levels of all the current monsters. So node system was something that was hinted at but never really fully established. Also includes my personal take on creating custom campaigns. Should be interesting. I'm one of those people who feels he's probably never unlocked the green armor ever because his playstyle. I don't know. Maybe he has. It's a mess to do that, and it's weird for someone to say things like, oh, you should never include more than one node, and then make a green armor expansion that requires you to add more than one thing in one node. It's so weird. So then the content pitch was a hardcover book, The Ancient Butcher Monster. Didn't know what that was going to be. It had 3 new hybrid armor sets, and huge fan of hybrid armor sets. That's something now, but even when I was reading this pitch originally, I was like, oh, cool, different armor sets. Hybrid armor sets are something that the game should definitely have. I'm a huge fan of hybrid armor sets. 80 gear cards, whatever, 3 campaign-specific settlement pads, 1 blank settlement pad, 2 character record pads, generous fistful of new story events. New story events, awesome. I remember thinking, I was like, oh, maybe we'll get a hunt table or something. Hunt table was desperately needed. We need a new hunt table. So that was the original pitch for Campaigns of Death. If it stayed as that, I'd be happy. I know it has since become an amazing beast. We're going to go over that. But this is... Which update is this? This is the next update on Campaigns of Death, which was... What update is it? This is update... Oh, this is when he originally delayed everything. So this is in November 2018. This is update 65. Let's go down and see Campaigns of Death. A lot of Gambler's Chest stuff. So here's some of the Gambler's Chest stuff that I was talking about even in the last video I just got done with. So remember, as I was skimming through all the things, I was like, oh, look, we've already seen all this stuff. Most of this stuff, there's Meat Shield. I knew I had seen it before. All these things... That's why I kind of skimmed them over, and I don't know. He's talked about all that stuff long ago. The newest update, I mean, there is changes in the way it was done and things, but a lot of the same images and things have been there for years. So, here's Campaigns of Death. This is when the price originally went up. This was a Black Friday update of 2018. This is when it went from $40 to being $170, I think it is now, or $125 or something. I forget the exact price. I know I just mentioned it in the first video, an hour and a half ago. I can't remember what it was, but I think that's what it went up to. So, it is, as you can see, he draws a picture to say, look, the book is bigger. Good. So it's now 150 plus pages. Okay? So the hardcover book now includes all the 1.5 versions of all 12 current expansions in one place. Awesome, because if you know, even though he reprinted all the expansions for 1.5, those expansion monsters are not 1.5 compatible. So if you were to buy old expansions, they're still the original expansions without updates for 1.5. So just so if you were wondering if you've been buying stuff on Black Friday, I don't think I'm going to get these videos out before Black Friday. Just because I know I'm already busy on Sunday. So, like, I'm not even going to be home on Sunday and Monday, so whatever. Anyway, this is amazing. So I would hope that he updates the campaigns that are in People of the Sun and People of the Stars to be 1.5. I don't think that's going to happen, but that would be cool. This is very vague, but I think what it's just going to be is, now you'll get the more resources and you'll get the lichen at the end of everything. Myriad of updates to all current expanses range from new typos, brand new content. Here are some sneak peeks. Please note this content is still work in progress and subject to change. Yes, it has changed. This is something that has changed, the thing I'm literally about to talk about. So this is the Gorm. It would appear. Players excited to gather around a lantern horn in Gorm-infested territory are getting a prologue Gorm to start their journey. That's awesome. No, we're not getting that. I think he's said somewhere that that's not happening anymore. I don't know why. It's super easy to do, and he's had 4 years, 5+ years now to get it done. Should have been something that should have been done long. I don't know why he's taking it out. It doesn't make any sense. Gorm expansions updated for 1.5 rules and rewards. Awesome. We've even found opportunities in ambiguous interaction between moods to give survivors more disgusting, brutal outcomes as illustrated above. So some changes to Thunderfoot, Posturing Piss. Yep, just changes to the game. Just changes. Awesome. I would have liked for the Gorm to get a prologue itself. It's no longer doing that. So the 1.5 rules. A new Gorm Climate Settlement event, I guess, is adding gourmier flavor for the hit location, new gear. I don't know what this exactly means. Who knows? I don't know if we're getting all new gear, all this stuff. I doubt it. But if we are, that just makes it even more worth the $125. So even with it being $125, you're getting all those new campaigns. That's not even close to how much some of these expansions sell for, just with an expansion for Lonely Tree, for example, which doesn't come with much of anything. Which is one of the reasons why I never bought it until like right now. Even if he were to say he were to give you updated gear for all these 12 monsters, that's well worth the $125 in itself. But you're even getting more than that. So here's Manhunter. Manhunter implements set it apart from other monsters. Gala on its back now menaces survivors with a new trap. So there's a new trap for the Manhunter. Cool. So triggering strain milestones surface. So they're probably all gonna have strain cards, which the node system seems to be a big part of that. I'll get into it. So here's where the Flower Knight gets updated. So to make it, I don't know why the Flower Knight cards are being added in the Gambler's Chest, but they are. And that was from the newest update that I just talked about in the last 30 minutes ago. I just talked about that. I don't know why that's in there. Should be here, but okay. This is cool. Sunstalker armor is getting buffed, getting a new katana, so there will be new gear. Because it was impossible to create katanas, or very difficult to get one. I think you had to get the steel katana when you played campaigns of the People of the Sun. So it says right here, if this means this is what's getting updated, so the hit location AI cards are getting updated. People of the Sun itself will get updated to 1.5. Be awesome. So then the gear gets updated. So this one does get a new katana. Cool. This is a Lonely Tree. For too long, Lonely Tree has lived in the middle ground between terrain and true expansion. Yes, way to admit that it's not much of an expansion. This update makes the Lonely Tree showdown more accessible and rewarding. Sweeping changes to its showdown decks. So, I don't own Lonely Tree. I do now. I just finally got it, but never had a chance to play it. So I've played it way long ago because a friend had it, but I've never actually gotten to sit down. I think we were playing wrong because I didn't have the books and stuff. I was just playing with him. So I think that's going to make me better understand it, but I never really liked the Lonely Tree. It just kind of stood there and made it range. It was cool that it was a monster that had range attacks, but from what I remember, it just kind of stood around or just sat there. Felt weird. It was a weird thing. So hopefully it makes it feel better. This is awesome. This is Lion God getting new cards. I don't like the fact that it has different sized cards. I wish cards would be, uniform, so you wouldn't have to buy all kinds of different sleeves or remember all this stuff for sleeving or different storage because you can't make like tuck boxes for each thing. And I think I've shown how I store all my things. I keep them in the one case. They're all just one thing, all the uniform sleeve cards. But whatever. I guess it's cool that now the Lion God will feel better with these God cards. I don't know if I would assume every single card would have to be this big now, since this is a Relentless card, so you'd have to be drawing from a deck just from how Relentless works. Weird. Lion God has a God class AI deck. Yeah, so it says here that all of them will be this big. I don't like that. I don't even know why you would do that. So what do? Turn it on the sides? Like the board thing is meant to, you draw cards, and he made a board where all those cards sit out in a very nice, they have all nice, very specific locations where AI deck, wound stack. So these are just going to be huge now and not fit where they should have fit, and it's going to be weird. Whatever. So yeah, the AI guard cards, Godly Disposition for his hit location. Okay, new gear 1.5. He needs a lot of changes in my opinion. I've already talked. The Lion God is just not worth fighting for level 3. Hopefully that gets adjusted. Hopefully a lot of these level 3 things get adjusted, because if they're all going to get updated to 1.5, now knowing that 1.5 has a lot of level 3 only sections, and some of those monsters are just not worth fighting. So this is awesome. Crossover content, depending on the mixture of your expansions in the campaign, you might see unique things. So People of the Sun plus Dragon King equals Nuclear Katana. Lonely Lady plus Slenderman equals Dark Fruit. So cool. This stuff is awesome. Anytime you add like this kind of thing, this made the pitch even to $40 awesome. So the Gorm, there's going to be new calcified gear, which is awesome. Calcified Bone Club, this looks like. Which is not an expansion club, so that's cool. Let's see. Lion Knight, plus this is just so random, but whatever. So here's the Strain System. Strain System is something that I am bonkers excited about. Should I talk about the Strain System now? And I might as well. So here's the thing with the Strain System. The Strain System is what has been coming in these Echoes of Death, right? It's also in this White Giga Lion. The Strain System are those cards you check at the record and archive step. You check your Strain cards, and they add stuff to your game future for all campaigns moving forward. Can use it, right? So with Echoes of Death, more specifically, with the White Giga Lion, more specifically, that's a strain. So whenever the White Lion is added, you can use the White Giga Lion instead, and he becomes. You can also hunt the White Giga Lion whenever you have the White Giga Lion added in your node system, or the White Lion, which would be every single campaign because it was the only prologue at the time. He originally pitched the Gorm getting one, but now it's not getting one. He has said. I don't know why. I guess I don't know. Why would you undo work? Especially from someone who can't get work out on time. Why would you undo work? Who knows? So now you'll have the Crimson Croc to be able to fill that node for a prologue monster for the strain, I'm assuming. So that's how the strains have been working with these Echoes cards. So let's talk Gambler's Chest and what appears to have happened. Gambler's Chest appears to be what will be necessary moving forward to play, not to play Kingdom Death, but he sure is taking a lot of time making sure that everything, even the new 12, whatever number there, I think it's like 15 in Wave 4 or whatever, all those new expansions work with Gambler's Chest. And all the Gambler's Chest stuff works with regular Kingdom Death. So what's gonna happen is either those Arc Survivors are going to work in every campaign moving forward, and Kingdom Death, or the Campaigns of Death, is going to adjust for that and taking that into account, or the strain system as we know it, is going to have to be fundamentally different, because it's just not going to work. All these Echoes things aren't going to work, because the Arc Survivors don't use fighting arts. They use those knowledge and philosophy decks. So all these strains that you're unlocking don't mean crap. All those fighting arts don't mean crap moving forward when you're using Arc Survivors. So it creates a weird thing here, which could happen because he has a lot of oversight in his life. He's done oversight on many things. Like I said, the Dung Beetle Knight is huge oversight. I'm letting that be the way that is for Tom. Removing the antelope and not fixing cooking, that's huge oversight. 1.6 is fixing his oversights from before. That's what that legendary card pack's doing. So if this is going to create some kind of flux where these Arc Survivors and Philosophy System just are completely different from everything else Kingdom Death knows, and the new 15 or whatever expansions work with Arc Survivors, and the Scout system and everything, then Campaigns of Death is going to be in a unique situation where it's going to be, this is how you play basically a different game. Like if you don't want to use Gambler's Chest, which is also kind of weird and kind of like a crappy thing, because you think the original Kickstarter, the 1.5, right? Most people who backed it got the Gambler's Chest included. It was supposed to just be stretch goals, like every other thing has. It was supposed to just be stretch goals. That's where all those narrative sculpts and everything are supposed to be in there. And that's why it was like Santa, but it was like Christmas, and he's like, oh, let's add Santa to the game, and then that became Atlas. But then he was like, well, I'm going to make Atlas an actual thing, and now I'm going to add an actual campaign. I'm going to do all this stuff rather than it just be random stuff. That's why it was just Gambler, which was just random. It was symbolic of him just rolling and adding stuff into the deck, rolling D10s through the lantern that he did throughout the campaign. All those things were just basically stretch goals, and now they've basically become Kingdom Death 2. So that's kind of crappy that you did that to people, that you had them back Kingdom Death 1.5, and then you were like, look at all these cool expansions. Here's Campaigns of Death. We're doing the node system. We're doing all this stuff. You can make the Campaigns of Death, we'll build the node system now. You'll be able to put your own campaigns together, drawing cards, the strain system. We'll do, every one of these new expansions will be work with the old expansions. And 1.5 will be the new base going forward. But what you've actually did was, okay, you need to buy 1.5. So people, this is Kickstarter exclusive, people. What I'm talking to the people right now. People who this week were like, wow, 1.6 is up for pre-order. I could finally get a core game. Well, basically, screw those basic people is basically what, or ill-informed. It's either going to be, I don't like how the Gambler's Chest has basically become an essential part of the game now. It looks to be, from what has been being pitched. So all the people in the Kickstarter are going to be fine, because they've been following along with all these updates and everything. But the Gambler's Chest appears to be what you're going to need moving forward. So if you're going to be coming into the game, coming into the hobby, and there's plenty of people that always comment on, like, to me, and comment in like I've seen it on Reddit and Discord and Facebook, and they leave comments on my video. They're like, oh, I want to buy Kingdom Death. Well, okay, go buy Kingdom Death 1.6. There's a pre-order for it. That's like a $350 game. Also buy the other $350 Gambler's Chest, because apparently all this stuff is going to need that forever. And Campaigns of Death either is one going to symbolize it's going to symbolize the end of regular Kingdom Death. Like, this will be the the farewell, like the swan song. This is it. This is going to make all those original 12 expansions. Now you're going to be able to play with them. Here's all the rules. Here's some cool stuff you can do. You could bring some of the Gambler's Chest in, because he does say that eventually. But you won't be able to use Arc Survivors unless there's some way of using Arc Survivors. Now it's like, okay, for new players, you want to get into Kingdom Death? Well, you have to decide, you want to get regular Kingdom Death 1.6 and maybe those 12 expansions, or do you want to get Kingdom Death? Also, you want to get Gambler's Chest because you're going to need those Arc Survivors, all those Philosophy cards, all the Scouts, all those other things. And then you're going to want to get Campaigns of Death because you're also going to need the node system to use all the future Wave 4 expansions. That's putting 3 super expensive things just as a base game. You divided a base game up into 3 things now by doing that. Which is fine, but it's so weird that appears to be the case. Hopefully it's not. I hope there's some way to use Arc Survivors in old systems without getting Campaigns of Death, and I hope that Arc Survivors aren't necessary for everything going forward. Because if Arc Survivors are necessary for everything going forward, if every single aspect of Wave 4 is going to incorporate encounters system, so that requires you. If he's just going to be like, oh look, see, I don't want to talk about Wave 4 because I know that Wave 4 has encounters in it. I already know that it does because I just reread all these updates and everything. So, you're going to need that stupid encounter board. You're going to need to have people buy 1.6 and then tell them to buy Gambler's Chest. It's basically Kingdom Death 2. He should be more upfront about that. But it's not, because you can't play Gambler's Chest without owning the original game. I know I just talked about the Gambler's Chest like now an hour ago. This is even another 30-minute video, but look, we're talking about everything. I'm going to go over every single update, and I'm going to talk about how reading every single update and reading what he says moving forward. And I should have mentioned it last time in the Gambler's Chest, but I knew I was going to talk about it here with Campaigns of Death. I don't like the fact that Gambler's Chest appears to be a necessary thing. And instead of making 1.6, including, I don't know, maybe you shouldn't have made 1.6 now. Maybe what you should have done was made 1.5, not done a reprint. Do a reprint after you have Campaigns of Death, and then up the price of that to include Campaigns of Death. If that's the only way that you're ever going to be able to use future expansions is to use this node system that's in Campaign of Death or own the Gambler's Chest, selling the base game to people is a lie. It's not the base game at this point. It's the base game, and then these new expansions basically are a different game. So you need to buy a $350 game on top of a $325 game on top of a $125 book to even play the new future stuff. I don't like that. But I guess if you backed it, so people who backed it and got Gambler's Chest for free, or as a reward for paying the original because it was included in most pledges, good for you. I guess he's only worried about those people. So here's the node system now that I've talked about it. So the node system created a structure for Kingdom Death monster campaigns to introduce an improved way for players to create custom campaigns. We worked with something strange happened. The system metamorphosized, and from its husk crawled something scary and deeply excited me. The strange system introduces card-based process to create a unique campaign from your Kingdom Death monster collection. Starting with your campaign's story arc monster, draw cards Drawing cards will specify aspects of your campaigns. Cores you will hunt, nemesis you will face, unique story events, campaign milestones, and more. So, if this drawing here is representative of how you build a campaign, it looks like prologue monsters, nemesises, and stuff like that build the actual story itself will be in these decks. Cores will be in this deck, along with story events being in there, because those can actually be legitimately randomized. As of right now, even using knowledge that I know of, the only 2 prologues are still going to be the White Lion and the Crimson Croc. So there's only going to be 2. And what he calls here is Story's Arc Monster, which is weird because I think that would be either going to be the Watcher or the Gambler, Sunstalker, or a Dragon King. as it is currently. There's also going to be ones included in Campaigns of Death, which I'll talk about, but it's not necessarily the God Hand or the Gold Smoke Knight. Those are finale monsters. So those would be the ones you face. Those are the ones that he calls the story arc. I guess that's why he doesn't care if Gold Smoke Knight and God Hand are just basically Proto Man and they just show up. You just fight them at random. Just Proto Man, you know, from Mega Man games, where he just shows up. Just Zero just shows up in the original X game. It's just like, who's this guy? I don't know. He just shows up and tells you some stuff. You fight him. That's Proto Man. That's base. It's just random stuff that just shows up. It's like basic, like kind of like anime storytelling. Like, who's this dude? I don't know. He just showed up. Just fight him. So that would be, oversized art cards provide you with the recipe to generate a specific campaign. Still awesome. Like People of Lantern, the original core game. People of the Eclipse, People of Slaughterhouse. Stuff is so cool. So, the second exciting aspect of the strain system. Again, strain system is what's in Echoes of Death. Looks to be not what's used going forward for Arc Survivors. I don't see how a strain system would be involved for Arc Survivors unless the Gambler, when you draw that as your story arc, then it tells you to include Arc Survivors. But Arc Survivors would also need to be... maybe they wouldn't. I don't know. I don't know, but this is just my opinion. So I could be wrong, and I'm sure people can downvote and say, oh, you're wrong. He's going to make the best game ever, and you're stupid. And he's never made faults in anything he's ever done before. In summary, the strain system will provide rules for players to build custom campaign by either selecting their strain cards or in true Kingdom Death style, allowing the strain system to generate a campaign for you. Fine, great. That's how it works now with the Record and Archive. You just accomplish a milestone, happens at random, in there moving forward. I don't actually mind the randomness of it. I know it sounds like I hate the randomness of it. I hate the randomness of... I hate the repetitive use of randomness. Everything is random. And when everything is random, that's bad. That's why I like Arc Survivors, where you can actually, it's like creates job trees for your survivors, so not everything is just random. Like getting the green armor and stuff, or doing even stuff inside the Flower Knight, People to Bloom. It's just at pure random. You just need to have someone show up with this disorder who's also a sword master to then trigger this disorder to then have a chance at getting this from this to getting the, what is it? I think is it the the sword Triswalda? I forget. I think that's how exactly. I forget. I don't have everything in front of me, and I'm not going to look for it. Countless survivors will perish in their wake, their ever-evolving series of campaigns. Oh, and of course, the new expansions, Wave 4, will include strain cards to further expand the system, and Campaigns of Death updates the current expansions to work with the strain system. Okay, awesome. I mean, I think that's since changed, since he has now said that current the reason why Wave 4 is delayed so much is because he wants them to work with encounters, scouts, and philosophies. So... that's Campaigns of Death. That's Gambler's Chest stuff, not Campaigns Chest. And it would appear, just from reading how the Gambler's Chest works, the strain system is just moot. You don't use the fighting art deck anymore. So the strain system, or that's just basically for the Echoes of Death, which I know are promos, but I'm just saying, when you take away the randomness, you can't also have random things, because he's taking it away. So random strains that unlock disorders and things that affect the way you would do your philosophy system, because you gain, you're going down a track in a philosophy system. Randomness from the strain doesn't appear to be part of that. Also, there's specific story event in the Gambler's Chest called Returning Arc Survivors. So unless there's nodes that turn your people into arcs, which would there need to be, can't be an oversight. So there's a lot of things I hope don't get oversighted. So here's the Ancient Butcher. Again, this was always pitched. I know it seems like it's getting just thrown out of nowhere because the original pitch mainly just tells you how to work, and this was always in there. But this was originally pitched, the Ancient Butcher. So here he is, Ancient Butcher. I don't know what his base size will be. I don't think it said anything. So there's Ancient Butcher. Let's go to the next update. This was update... which one was this? This was update Again, Wave 3 and 4 are delayed again. This was update 66. So, again, here's those strain systems and everything. That's why when I was going through the Gamer's Chest just, like an hour ago, last video, why I was scrolling through everything, that we've seen this, we've seen this, we've seen this. Because, yeah, we have seen that stuff before. I know some of it changed, but as you can see, Scout system, it was all... This year's update, Black Friday update, was neat, but a lot of it was just reused. See, here's all this pattern cards. They already were shown 2 years ago. In fact, here's even more of the pattern cards that weren't shown in the newest update. Here's more of the encounters. This is still when Smogstalkers were considered an encounter, but now they've been Node 2. There's God Hand. This is just, he just shows up. There's Proto Man himself. Cool. Good job. More stuff. Okay, so here's Campaigns of Death again. Here we go. First look at the final hard plastic. So these are finalized. This is 2 years ago. This hard plastic's finalized. So it's ready to go into production. Just decided to not, I guess. Or he just wasn't, or this wasn't true. I don't know. I have a feeling he's just not gone into production for some reason. So here's Ancient Butcher. Looks cool. Looks amazing. Love the Ancient Butcher. Ancient Butcher, well, we'll talk about it here. So the Ancient Butcher can be used as a core monster. So he fills the node for the... Or a finale monster, like the Gold Smoke Knight. It's a 100mm base. Okay, so it's a huge base. Meaning that he has his own... Well, we'll get into it. So, as much as I love the Ancient Butcher, it was sort of a hard stretch to imagine it supporting 5 new campaigns by itself. Okay, agreed, I guess. In order for the strain system to truly shine, there needed to be more to experience than just mixtures of the existing expansions plus the Ancient Butcher. Sure, I agree. But isn't that the point of the node system you were pitching? Couldn't you have gotten the Gold Smoke Knight in place of him and the Ancient Butcher? It wouldn't have always been the Ancient Butcher. Could have been... So even with this, what he's saying here, it goes against what he was pitching with the strain system. So maybe this is evidence of him not using the node system anymore, of him wanting to clear it up. So, because what he had pitched, the original node system, you would have been able to use the Ancient Butcher as a core monster, meaning you would have shuffled it into the deck with the Sunstalker, the Dragon Knight, or the Dragon King, the Watcher, and Ancient Butcher would have been all shuffled into there. You would have 4 to choose from, and then a finale monster would have just been the Gold Smoke Knight and the Ancient Butcher. So it would have been a 50-50 shot at which one you would have got in your custom campaign. So I don't know why he's saying that in order for the strain system to truly shine, there need to be more than just a mixture of the existing expansions plus the Ancient Butcher. Yeah, well, that was the point of the Wave 4 expansions, so this would all be put, fluffed out. That's why the Wave 4 expansions shouldn't have been delayed for so long. Wave 4 expansion shouldn't be part of your Kingdom Death 2, which apparently is what you've been making. Why Wave 4 has been delayed so much. If Wave 4 would have handled this, but I guess he ignored that and didn't look forward to the future. But Wave 4 should have been handling this problem for you, but you've handled it in a different way, which is fine and awesome. So I opened the door and spent some time in Kingdom Death, creatively wandering around, or wondering and wandering. Wondering and wandering about where survivors might settle and what would happen if they were involved with different monsters and ecosystems beyond just the Watcher. Yes, again, your Wave 4 expansions would have handled all this, but I went back to this content and decided to take a few items that were planned for separate future releases. Why are you planning future releases when you haven't done anything? Nothing's been released for 4 years. Why are you planning future releases? Alright, this time it was already 3 years delayed. Because this was 2018. 2018. So this would have been, at that time, 2 years delayed, and he's already planning future stuff that wasn't pitched. Good. Glad you're spending your time wisely. This meant going back to the drawing board on some of the proposed campaigns and really refining what they were about. As it was, the campaigns about the Ancient Butcher felt great, but the others were lacking the new challenge that really bring the story and experience together. So, then he's added this. So, originally pitched, this is still the same, is originally what was pitched even when the Kickstarter was launched, when this was originally rolled. 3 30-year campaigns and 2 5-year campaigns. So again, this was really what was already pitched. I don't know why you're saying that it took you forever to contemplate it, whatever you pitched this originally. So, 2 years ago, as of this update. 4 years ago, as of now, this was the original pitch. A campaign about survivors inside a giant resin dung ball in the Beetle Baron's castle. Cool. Love it. Campaign about survivors that find a polished mirror stone and a pile of lantern trophies instead of a lantern horde. Little do they know, this is where the ancient butcher sharpens its cleavers. So people in the mirror stone, it sounds like that's the Crimson Clock. Crimson Croc. Pretty sure he doesn't have what they're calling his resources. The mirror, his mirror scarily skins or whatever. I forget now. But cool. So then this people in the mirror stone. This is the ancient butcher one, which means the Gold Smoke Knight's probably the finale monster of this. Battle of the Green Knight, campaign that culminates in the final encounter with the Verdant Lord. Settlement's only hope is to build the Green Knight armor and its sacred blade. So to build this would not use the node system. You would need to be very specific with what you add to your game in order to build the Green Knight armor. So this again just debunks the node system. I don't think it's coming, or it's going to be very weird. The node system, I've given up on it pretty much. I don't think it's going to be used anymore, and if it is used, better be something completely different than randomness. I actually enjoyed the idea of just having it random. The $40 pitch, I'd be happy with that if I would have got it 2 years ago. This is cool. Grindhouse, short campaign about barbaric survivors that awaken with red ink instead of black. Awesome. Short campaign about a group of survivors that worship the Slenderman in a 5-year campaign. Awesome. So, Beetle Baron as a core or finale monster. I don't like the idea of Beetle Baron being a finale monster, but whatever. Again, I just don't like the idea of the finale monster. It just shows up and I don't know. So here's the Beetle Baron. So that's awesome. Beetle Baron, cool. That's actually Tom. That's the exact artwork for Tom. But I guess it's now the Beetle Baron. The Verdant Lord. This is a final encounter monster. So I think... Oh no, it says a finale monster. So Verdant Lord. So that's neat. At least, so that means this camp. I don't know why I didn't notice this when I just told just now rereading it didn't click. Maybe because I was reading the updates really quick and just making a spreadsheet of what was in them. So this appears that this is a finale monster, meaning it's the Node 30 one, which is the Gold Smoke Knight or the Ancient. But the dude who just shows up. This is the Proto Man dude. The dude who just shows up and you fight him for no reason. It's unexplained. This is the finale monster, meaning the whole campaign will take the course of the 30 years, which is awesome because that's how long it probably would take to build the entirety of the green armor without planning it, without making a campaign, like a timeline that's very specific about what you fight and when you do what, because that is literally how you need to handle building the entirety of the green armor. You need to do very specific and follow it. So with the 30 years and him showing up as a finale monster, which means it's got a story, you're going to spend 29 years actually planning for this guy to show up. Awesome. Instead of just some dude showing up. So that's cool. Love that. So Infant Sunstalker is a Node 2 quarry. Replaces the Antelope currently. So that's cool. Infant Sunstalker. I hate this. I don't like... So even when my Lion Knight, I didn't include the 3 people on the base, and I probably won't include her on the base of the Infant Sunstalker. It just feels weird that to just be, as you're fighting this thing, there's just someone feeding a baby. I know that's how this works. I know that in the actual campaign, that's how survivors are born in the pool and stuff like that. So I get all that, but it's just so weird to have this. Same thing with when he pitched the vignette for the butcher, where there's just people crying behind the butcher. It doesn't make sense. It's more like a this is more of a, what do they call a showcase mini than it would be an actual one showing a battle, but whatever. So there's just people, these were already released before in the old Infant Sunstalker. Again, the Infant Sunstalker was released years ago in the actual thing. Intimacy for people with a dragon, neat, or whatever. Vocal Spidicules, Spidicles. Neat. This has a strain card, I think is what it said up here, right? A core monster unlockable via the strain system. So I'm sure this is when you get someone successfully to roll back the thing. when you cut off all of its legs, you roll it back to that'll be the milestone you need to hit to unlock this. And so, awesome. There's also Devil Sunderman. Can't remember. So that's the other 5-year pitch to people to Gloom or whatever it was up there. Campaigns of Death has bloomed and now feels complete to me. This was 2 years ago. And I don't think we're getting it until 2022. So, good job. Very complete. With new monsters for the stories to circulate around and challenges to work towards overcoming, with strain, unlocking, and modify the creature, future campaigns as you go. This is the experience and the full extent of the platform I have envisioned. However, it is now changed because we're not done. During office playtesting, we accidentally fed an activated nuclear psyche to the Screaming Antelope, so you can fully expect a nuclear vignette with related strain cards as a separate release in the future. Awesome! Not coming. The next vignette's a Butcher. Let's go to, I think this is the last one. This is the last Campaigns of Death. Yes, this was October 23rd, 2020. This is update 82. I think this is the last bit of Campaigns of Death stuff. Yes, Campaigns of Death. So here's just more of the Sky King armor for Campaigns of Death, Sunstalker, Dragon King, which was pitched. Work still continues on these, however, they have not been my main focus. The campaign generation side of the strain system got a bit of a refinement. Who would have guessed? So we could ensure that the content being made from the Gambler's Chest was a bit future-proofed. So using the Crimson Croc setter with the strain system. Who would have guessed that that would have happened? Maybe you shouldn't be working on your game or expansions that need other expansions. You shouldn't work on all that stuff at the same exact time. Maybe you should have worked on the Gambler's Chest 2.5 years ago. Either way. So, very neat. Yep, so you'll get all those things. So, Campaigns of Death. It would appear that it's going to be vitally necessary for you to even get moving forward. Not as vital as the Gambler's Chest. The Gambler's Chest appears to be Kingdom Death 2. So that is very vital. It sucks that it can't be played without the core game. That sucks. Sucks that you need to buy it in order to use future stuff moving forward. Because all this stuff now, even Campaigns of Death says it's going to be dependent on that. Also sucks you're going to need to buy the Gambler's Chest to use any of the Wave 4 expansions, because it would appear that those also have encounter system monsters, so you're going to need that encounter board and encounter stuff. You're going to also need the philosophies and the scouts, because Wave 4 is all going to add those scout systems and things. So, Campaigns of Death. I think Campaigns of Death is great. It sounds like I'm being super negative on things. I'm just being really negative on the release schedule. And I don't care that he takes the 5 years to make things. That's not the point of the release schedule. What I dislike is the way that this was pitched, then got scope crept, and then needed to stop being produced, then worked on the Gambler's Chest, then needed to rework on the Campaigns of Death, then rework on the Gambler's Chest again, and it still might not work together. He originally, in one of these updates, I'll show when I talk about it, originally it was supposed to be Campaigns of Death and First Hero. That was supposed to be the things that came in Wave 3. That was the original Wave 3, which would have been perfect. Why is Campaigns of Death delayed? These Kingdom Death 1.5 and 1.6 have already been out. Most of this stuff here revolves around 1.5 and things. So that stuff should have been released way before. Same thing with the First Hero. Now I get that First Hero needs to make it some way, so maybe when they arrive you can use the Ark Survivors and things. But I just wish that those things affect the game that's released now as is. You should have gotten those out earlier. Because moving forward, I don't care, take 8, 10 years or whatever, how long it's going to end up being for Wave 4. That's fine. Because those don't affect the current campaign. But you have a game right now that's been out for a long time that has had no content really added to it. And the main thing is Campaigns of Death here, which would have helped all the old content. The focus of Campaigns of Death was the old content. Why it got delayed for new content is weird. It was supposed to just help the old content. Now it's become something different, and that's fine. I mean, it sucks that that's the way that things are. That when things... It sucks. I feel bad for people who didn't back the Kickstarter, and I just feel real bad for them moving forward that they're going to have to buy 1.5, which is now 1.6, because the game's also been updated before any of these new expansions even came out, which again is fine. Again, 1.6 should have something that should have happened 3 years ago. It's not even changing anything that's new. It's just fixing your typos from old expansions and fixing a problem that you created with the Spidicules. It's not like you were like, oh man, I created this new gambler's chest. Well, maybe it is. See, that's the other thing. Maybe it is. Maybe he never play-tested Spidicules and never realized that he needed to get that off of the thing. Like, the antelope was a problem even when the original game came out and Spidicules replaced him. And 1.6 is now fixing that. Now fixing that 5 years later. 6 years later, however long it took for Spidicules to be in playtesting and for the original game to come out, that he needed to get that off. So now it's when he was like, oh man, I actually have to playtest the Gambler's Chest. Oh man, look at this. These Smog Singers remove the Screaming Antelope. What a problem that creates. Yeah, with cooking and all that stuff. That's why all of his like Instagram and his Twitter is all with his cooking, because he knows he needs to redo the entirety of the cooking system in Gambler's Chest. A lot of those problems happened a long time ago. But yeah. So, I feel bad for people. But, I would definitely get Campaigns of Death. So, that's why this is part 1 and part 2. If you are a new person to Kingdom Death and you were looking to back on this Black Friday and you just joined, you're like, I got 1.6. Don't buy any expansions. If you have a tight budget with only a little bit to spend, don't buy any old expansions. Buy the Gambler's Chest. Then use your money to buy Campaigns of Death. Even if you don't have any of the expansions, I would still buy Campaigns of Death, because you don't want to put yourself in a situation where it's a limited time run and it's hard to get a hold of. Get Gambler's Chest, regardless of having any expansions. Get Kingdom Death 1.6 if you're a new backer or new person or never backed anything or looking, what is it, man, they're so overwhelming, because you go in the backer kit. I know when the backer kit was originally for the original Kickstarter, there's like all the original 12 plus all the other 15. It's like so many things to choose from. It's a smorgasbord of options. It's like analysis paralysis you get when you look at these backer kits and stuff. Get 1.6 or get the card pack first. Then get Gambler's Chest. It's a must. Don't buy anything else without Gambler's Chest. Then really consider getting Campaigns of Death next. Just based on how it's a... If it really is a rule book and it has strain cards and everything needed to even implement the Wave 4, which it really looks like the Wave 4 is going to be... Everything in there is going to use a strain system. So... if that's the case, it's going to be weird if you were to buy 1.6 and then buy some of the Wave 4 expansions. You're going to have all this stuff like, what are all these strain cards? What are all these strain milestones? Why does it have pattern cards when I can't have... Oh, that's the other thing. Where is it? I thought... What update was it? Did I not say it? Somewhere in here, Campaigns of Death has pattern cards, too. I don't think I said that. 10 gear cards, hybrid armor set. One of these updates said Campaigns of Death has pattern cards. And if that's true, if pattern cards are in Campaigns of Death, which I'm assuming they are, man, did I really not see that and not say it? Where was that? Oh, man. Either way, I'm pretty sure Campaigns of Death now has pattern cards in it. Was it on the shop? Or was it in the backer kit when you click the backer kit and it says 10 pattern cards? Okay, I know I saw that somewhere. Campaigns of Death has pattern cards. If you can't even make those stupid pattern cards without the innovation table that's in Gambler's Chest, that's dumb. That's dumb and stupid and dumb. That's dumb and dumb. That's dumb. The fact that innovations in the gambler's chest and stuff is going to be a staple of everything moving forward, that you can't even play. The gambler's chest seems to be so important to the game moving forward. So, anybody who just bought the game, and I know there's people out there who watch my channel who just are excited to finally be able to pre-order 1.6. Don't buy anything else. Don't buy any expansions before, if you're on a tight budget. Again, if you're on a tight budget, your priority should be getting that gambler's chest. It's very expensive, and it's really shitty that he put people in situations where that their first expansion that is core now to the essential of the game is $325 packed on a game that's already $350. And then once you get those two things, your next thing should be buying a $125 expansion, because every node moving, or all Wave 4 stuff, is going to need this node system. It's very shitty that he put you in these situations, and I'm sorry, but that's what's going to need to happen. And if you feel that I'm being biased because I backed the Kingdom Death 1.5 Kickstarter, I got the Gambler's Chest for free because it was a stretch goal originally, and then I got Gambler's Chest for $40. I hope I'm trying to become unbiased by that, because it doesn't affect me at all, because I only had to pay the $40 for it. And I feel so bad that people who want to play this game now need to buy the $350 game, $325 game, and now a $125 expansion. And they're not even getting much. They're just getting the original core game, then they're just getting everything to make use for expansions, and then they're just getting everything to make use of Wave 4. I feel so bad that that's the situation that this 4-year delay has put people in. But that appears to be the reality of it, and that's what I would suggest. And now I will talk about Wave 4. Again, yep, this hit another hour-long video. Apparently, I have a lot of things on my mind, but like I said, I wanted to make sure I went through all 83 of the updates, because I've never had a chance to talk about them before. So, part 3 now, I guess. It's a 3-part video, because I don't want to make a 4-hour-long video. Part 3 is probably going to be longer. There's a lot of expansions to talk about. So, part 3 is coming. There'll also be a special video also about just the channel update, about moving forward, about where I'm going to go with and when I should be able to get back to, and why I've been held away from making the continuation of the series. So, 4 videos coming up. Again, thank you so much for watching. It's so very humbling. I'm so sorry. I feel for you people. I feel for you guys. Everybody who's buying the game new and is struggling on what expansions to get. If you're on a tight budget, I hope these were informative. If you're just wondering and you're just lost and you're like, man, I don't want to go back through all those updates. What actually is the Gambler's Chest? What actually is the Campaigns of Death? What actually is Wave 4? Hopefully these videos will help. Look forward to the next one if you really want to go into. I look forward to doing that. I'm going to do it right now, actually, hopefully if I have time. Again, this took another hour. So, thank you so much for watching. So very humbling. Part 3 is coming. Part 1, I'm going to put that up. I'm just going to, now that I know that it's going to be part 1, 2, and 3, I'll just put up part 1 as soon as I can get it up, and then I'll just put up this one right away. Originally, I was maybe going to, as I just recorded like an hour ago now, I thought maybe I'd be able to put them all together. That's not the thing. So, let's go, or for now, right now, for me. Not for you. You're going to be able to pause and do whatever you want. And maybe you gave up on my ranting. But for me, I'm going to go open up every single update. I've got a lot of updates to open. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 updates we're going through for all over the last 4 years, along with all the original pitches for Wave 4. Let's go to Wave 4. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much. Have a good day.